All right, welcome to lesson one, keyboard movement. So you should be already familiar with the basics of the software and the sensors and actuators. If you're not, go back and look at that lesson. So in this lesson, what we want to do is make this cube move forward, backward, left, and right so that it can collect these four spheres. Now, right now we're in solid view. Let's go ahead and change that to viewport shading up at the top here. You can also press Z and then choose rendered. So the first thing we're going to do is look at our sensors. So if we want to use the keyboard, we're going to select keyboard. And next to key, we have this blank spot. You click in there and then you can press the key that you want to use. We also have a name that we can rename this thing. And right now it's not a big deal, but as we get more keyboards, it will become one. So let's go ahead and name these as well so that we have forward, backward, left, and right. So I've got my forward with the W key. Now to make this move, I'm going to add the actuator. And anytime we want something to move, we're going to use motion. And with motion, we have X, Y, and Z coordinates, just like we have up here in the top corner. Now the way to know which direction I want it to move, so if this is up or forward, how do I know which axis we need to be on? So if we look up in the top right corner, we can see this gizmo here, and it says X, Y, Z, and if I rotate, you can see that moves. This direction, the green, is Y, the red is X, and the blue is Z. So if I want to move this cube up this way, then I want it to be on the Y. Now, how do I know if it's positive or negative? So again, we're going to look at our gizmo here. And the positive value is where these letters X, Y, and Z are. The negative value is the opposite side. So if I go back into my camera view, I'm going to see that I want to go positive Y. So when you're doing location, we want to be less than 1 because the value is per frame. So if I set it to something higher than 1, it's going to move 1 unit every frame 60 times a second. So it's going to be really fast. So I'm going to keep it less than 1. 0.4 is probably fine. And I'm going to connect these. Now, if these don't connect like this, like I'm going to connect it, doesn't connect, that means you do not have your object selected. So I need to select my object. Then I can connect those. Then to play our game, we press P to play. And now by pressing W, I can move forward and then escape to go out of my game. So P to play and escape to get out. So when I move forward and I touch this sphere, nothing happens. The reason nothing happens is because we need to change the physics on our cube. If we go to our physics tab, it looks like a moon circling a planet. We can see that the physics type here is set to static. So the sphere is static and the cube is static. Now, two static objects cannot collide with each other. So we need to change one of them to be a rigid body. And we'll do that on our cube. So I'll select rigid body in the physics type. Now when I press play, that sphere disappeared. Now, you may have noticed a problem here. Let's go ahead and collide with this. Boop. And my cube is rotating. So the reason that's happening is because by default, the cube's physics box, the collision bounds, is actually a sphere. So if I push play with this on, you can see that it's a sphere and you can see it rotating. Now we don't want that. So what we're going to do is go to back to our physics tab here. And I'm going to scroll down and turn on collision bounds. And the bounds should be set to box by default. So we'll just leave it at box. And because it's a box, it won't, well, it looks like it rotated there too. Let's take a look at why. It's bouncing. So what we can do also to make sure that that never happens is lock the rotation right here. So we have lock translation. That would lock the position of it. We don't want that. And lock rotation. So we want to do that so that it cannot rotate. So for your project, you're going to need 4 of these, 4 keyboards and 4 motions, each going the proper direction. So I'll do one more just so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to add a keyboard. Let's name this back. And I'll give it another key and the motion actuator. And I'll do -Y this time. Connect those. Press play. So I can go back and forth now, but I can't go left and right because I haven't set that up. So you'll need to do that in the assignment. Good luck.